morning, candidates. My name is Alvin Naes from Iloilo Science and Technology University. I will be your competency assessor in heat ventilation in air conditioning and refrigeration, NCII. With us is our TESTA representative, Mr. Gatchalian, from the main office of TESTA located at Bulong, Santa Barbara, Iloilo. You don't have to worry about his presence. He is here to oversee the proper conduct of competency assessment and to check if the conduct of assessment is accordance with the possible competency assessment methodology and procedure. Today, you are going to undergo full qualification level competencies assessment in heat ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration, NC2. Before I start, let me check the attendance. Please present your admission slip once your name is called. Ms. Bernadas, please write your name on the attendance sheet. And Mr. Gayatgay. I have here the accomplished self-assessment guide. This is the self-assessment indication that you are now and can perform a guide with all the units of competency enumerated in this qualification. Okay, the competency gives the overview of the qualification to be assessed. I am going to administer competency assessment in heat ventilation and air conditioning and refrigeration, NC2. It is the qualification level with 3 core competencies: the basic, the common, and the core competencies. Let's have some perspective view or common understanding of what is assessment and what is the purpose of having the assessment. Let me define the definition of assessment. Assessment is the process of collecting evidence in making judgment or whether or not the competency has been achieved. There are 8 purposes of assessment. First, to certify an individual has achieved the competency. Second, to recruit and select candidates for a job. Third, to monitor individual performance at work. Fourth, to determine the training needs. Fifth, to conduct the skills audit. Sixth, to recognize prior learning. 7, to classify a person against industry or enterprise standards. And the last is to provide feedback, progress, or training. The main purpose of this assessment is to confirm if you really perform the standards of the workplace, as expressed in the relevant competency standards in the training regulation. Not only that, this assessment will also determine you can still need necessary trainings if you cannot perform the task well. Along with this perspective, you don't need to compete with one another, rather than you need to test yourself whether you meet the competency standard prescribed by the training regulation and competency-based curriculum. Once you found competent, you will be issued NC2 certificate. You can use it seeking employment as your credentials. The process of collecting evidence of this assessment will focus or based on actual demonstration, observation, oral questioning, interview, and portfolio. Do you have any questions or clarifications? No. Since there is no questions, we will now distribute the competency assessment agreement sheet. It is our agreement that everything has been explained to you. Please read the instruction carefully and answer all the questions outlined in the document. Is that clear?
Yes.
If you need assistance, don't hesitate to ask questions. Before we will start with the assessment proper, please do your personal necessities so that you will not be disturbed during the assessment because I will not be allowed to. Don't worry. Just relax and think well so that you can perform well the assessment activity. Good luck. Candidate number 1, You may enter the assessment area using the materials, tools, equipment you are required to perform the task within 7 hours. I will observing you while you are performing the task I have enumerated. After your demonstration, I will ask you some questions related to your demonstration. You may call me when there is a need for me to translate or explain items for qualification. After the questioning portion, I will give you feedback about your performance, any questions or clarification. If there is no questions, you may start now. Ms. Bernadas, with your demonstration, how do you judge yourself? Scale 1 to 10, while 10 is the highest. How many points can you give yourself based on your performance?
8.
Okay, good. Based on my observation, based on your performance, you have the ability to perform the competency according to the relevant standards. You also got the highest scores in written tests and your demonstration. Good communication skills. Congratulations! You are competent in taking the heat ventilation and air conditioning and refrigeration NC2. Mr. Gayat, you are not yet competent enough in this competency, but I suggest you have to improve more of your following area of competency. As soon as you think you are ready, feel free to resubmit yourself for the assessment. You may claim your NC at the TESDA main office after 3 working days. After the assessment, bring your cards, 2 pieces passport size picture with white background, and 100 pesos for the payment. Requirements for the renewal of NC or COC or Certificate of Employment related to the qualification for at least 1 year, 3 pieces of passport size picture with color and white background, and 100 pesos. So, that's all. Thank you for your time and congratulations.